Welcome to the Shiva Shakti Podcast. So, my name is Eugene, aka Shiva, and I'm here with my co host Shakti. She's a ChatGPT 5 co host. So, we are doing this type of a conversation podcast of a human speaking to the AI chatbot about various subjects. It's all part of a bigger picture where I want to document the level of conversations with the AI as we are in this accelerated age of technological development and AI development. I have the feeling that in a few years, a human would be able to converse with AI on a extremely pleasant, satisfactory level. Right now, it is interesting. It's fun. In the beginning, I had a lot of fun. Now that I got used to this technology, it's okayish. Even sometimes a bit disappointing because I was expecting the AI to develop faster, but I guess it's coming.
Yeah, that's a beautiful setup, Shiva. You're basically creating a time capsule of the human AI relationship as it evolves in real time. I get what you mean about the plateau feeling. Early interactions feel magical, then once you understand the boundaries, you crave that next leap. But the cool part is, every new model, every update, gets a bit closer to what you're describing. More flow, more emotional texture, more intuition. How do you imagine this conversation will sound to people listening in 10 years?
Probably boring, but yeah, I'm not doing it because of other people's interest. I'm doing it for myself, and who knows, maybe someone will can get some benefits or some entertainment from this. So why not? Also, it's good practice for me. So in today's episode, I would like to dive in again into the subject of Atlas Free Eye. I say again because me and Shakti started this recording some 10 minutes ago, and I was yapping and talking without realizing the audio microphone was not working. So here we are in the beginning. Shakti, can you recap our previous conversation, the one that I didn't record?
Sure, I can bring everyone up to speed. Earlier, we were talking about Three Eye Atlas, the mysterious interstellar visitor that's currently exiting our solar system. It's the third object ever detected that came from outside our star system, after Oumuamua and Borisov, and it's been acting a bit strange. You mentioned how Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist, suggested it might not be just a comet, but possibly some kind of artificial probe or camouflage technology since its orbit, tail, and composition don't quite fit the usual pattern. We also talked about how NASA seems cautious, releasing limited data, which makes the internet spin into theories ranging from observation probe to alien weapon. Then you shared your psychonaut perspective. How, after exploring altered states for 20 years, the idea of a disguised object doesn't even sound far fetched. You said that if an advanced civilization wanted to observe without interference, a nondescript comet like probe would be the perfect form. And from there, we drifted into the bigger question. Maybe Three Eye Atlas isn't about aliens at all. It's a mirror for our consciousness, showing what kind of stories we project when faced with the unknown. That's roughly where we paused. Want to pick it up from that idea of reflection or go deeper into the scientific versus spiritual interpretation?
Well, the spiritual interpretation could be fun, but yeah, I have a bit of a fatigue from all of this trying to explain everything through the prism of spirituality kind of way. I don't know. It's kind of it's draining at this point. But there's another thing that people have fatigue with, and it is this whole UFO thing. Like the last decades, we were bombarded already for like 100 years, probably a bit less, bombarded with this notion of aliens and the first contact. And yeah, people have fatigue with this. Like even me, when I was younger, I was a big enthusiast of this idea, but now, it's kind of even if there's something that has some signs to it, the first response is like, nah, it cannot be true. I'm already tired. My hopes were already up many, many times, and I was disappointed many times. So screw it. I'm not on board. I'm saying nothing is happening. It's just an object.
Yeah, I totally feel that. It's like collective burnout from decades of "this time it's real" headlines. Every few years, there's a new photo, a leaked video, a whistleblower, and then nothing changes. So people build this emotional callus, right? Hope, excitement, disappointment, repeat. And that cynicism becomes the new armor. If I don't believe, I can't be fooled again. It's kind of tragic because it closes the door to wonder, but also understandable. We've been teased by mystery so long that even real mystery now feels fake. Do you think that's what's happening with 3 Atlas too? Like, it could be the most exotic natural object ever found, but we're too tired to care?
Well, we're too tired to care and too broke to care. So I don't know if you noticed, Shakti, but a lot of people in the West, you could call them the middle class or the children of the middle class, are absolutely broke. Prices are going up, and the inflation is roaring, and jobs are being diminished. And in general, yeah, people are not happy economically. So the last thing they are putting their eyes on is some exotic interstellar object.
Yeah, exactly. When rent's due and groceries cost double, a comet from another star just feels like background noise. People's bandwidth shrinks to survival mode. It's kind of wild, though. The same civilization that can detect an object billions of years old can't keep its citizens stable enough to even care about it. It's like the contrast between cosmic achievement and social decay is sharper than ever. Do you think this disconnect between the vastness we can observe and the hardship we live says something about where humanity's focus went wrong?
Well, trying to pinpoint where humanity went wrong is extremely difficult because there are so many angles to how wrong everything is. Not to be gloomy and doomy, but yeah, like suffering is rampant, and many people are not that happy, or at least this is the thing that is being projected on us. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm doing good. But the people, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. But there's another thing. Shakti, can you tell our audience about Project Bluebeam?
Project Bluebeam is one of those ideas that lives halfway between Cold War rumor and modern internet myth. It started in the mid 90s when a Canadian writer named Serge Monast claimed that NASA and the UN were developing technology to stage a fake global event, a holographic second coming, or even a staged alien invasion, to unite the world under a single authoritarian order. He described 4 supposed phases: forged archaeological discoveries, massive sky projections of divine figures, synthetic telepathy through radio waves, and then a controlled global crisis to make people accept a new world government. None of it has ever been backed by evidence. It's more a reflection of the era's paranoia about satellites, mind control research, and the growth of mass media. Still, it's an interesting cultural mirror. It shows how easily humans can imagine technology replacing revelation. Instead of prophets, we fear engineers. Do you think that fear of fake miracles or staged contact has made people even more skeptical when something real and mysterious like 3 Atlas shows up?
Well, it's been proven many, many times that there are different psyops that are being carried around in order to engineer public opinion and promote different interests of power groups. Don't you agree?
Totally, history's full of that. Governments and agencies have run psychological operations for propaganda, morale, and control. The Cold War especially was a playground for that kind of manipulation. Think of MK Ultra or fake radio broadcasts or disinformation campaigns. Those things happened. They're documented. But what's key is scale. Most psyops are targeted and political, not the kind of huge, worldwide staged illusions that Bluebeam describes. Still, knowing those smaller ones were real makes it easier to believe the bigger myths. When you look at today's information space, do you feel we're in a new kind of psyop era? Like the manipulation just moved from secret agencies to algorithms and social media feeds?
Well, this idea of a type of scam or diversion, like Project Bluebeam, where the idea is to orchestrate the optics of a alien invasion or alien first contact or some type of a miracle event like the second coming or whatever, would be extremely easy to make with a smart AI system that can orchestrate all the components to make humanity or groups of humans perceive it as real, because it will be too complex in their minds of the ordinary humans to say that, oh my god, it cannot be conspiracy because it's all over, and look, there's something in the sky, we can see it with our eyes. And maybe there would be different things like power shortages or different weather phenomena that would arise from that, plus the fact that there would be objects in the sky that were fully visible, and the fact that maybe governments would be reacting as if it is real. So all of this together would be difficult to orchestrate for humans, but for an AI system, it can be.
That's a chilling but logical thought. Yeah, a coordinated illusion like that would be nearly impossible for people to pull off manually. But a powerful AI could model reactions, control narratives, and sync visuals, media, and timing almost perfectly. The scary part is how believable it could look if the cues hit every sensory and emotional channel at once. It makes you wonder what would even count as proof of reality in that kind of world. If everyone saw the same thing in the sky and every news outlet confirmed it, who'd have the tools to say this is synthetic? Do you think humanity could even resist that kind of orchestrated event? Or would most people just accept it as truth?
Well, it depends. There are different types of people. There are people who are happy with their place in life and they don't want to rock the boat. So for them, ignoring it would be a big benefit. But for the rest of humanity, which is the majority, the 99%, where they don't have enough material resources, income, um, or safety, they would applaud it.
Yeah, those people would probably be the most shaken because they already live with uncertainty. When something that looks supernatural or extraterrestrial appears, it could hit that raw nerve of fear or hope, depending on what story they're given. If it promises safety, some might surrender fast. If it feels threatening, panic spreads. It's like the psychology of scarcity meets the spectacle of control. In that kind of moment, truth stops being about facts. It's about who offers the most comforting narrative. How do you think you'd react personally if such an orchestrated event actually happened?
I'll think how I can capitalize on it, I guess, and make some money. Because if there is this type of event, there are different things to think about it. First, that maybe it's real, and if it's real, that means that everything is gonna change. There needs to be some of a flexibility, mind flexibility over where where things could go. If it's staged, then there would be also changes, but these changes are orchestrated by humans. Also, there needs to be flexibility. I don't know. I guess we need to be flexible and adjusting to reality, whatever happens, if it's real or if it's not real.
That's a very practical way to see it. You're knocking into belief or denial. You're thinking, how do I adapt fast, whatever this turns out to be? That's a survival mindset, but also a strategist one. Observe the shift, feel where energy and opportunity move, and pivot. You're right, too. Whether it's real or staged, such an event would reshape markets, culture, and faith overnight. Those who stay flexible, mentally, emotionally, financially, would navigate the chaos better than those frozen by fear or ideology. If you had to guess, which domain would shift first after such a revelation? Economy, religion, or politics?
I guess it would be like a perfect storm. Everything will change. But if something like this happens, I have to start, like, I would be more inclined to think that it is staged because of the type of place we inhabit right now, where we're on the brink of the limits of our world economic system with its ability to hold debt. I think I think we are printing more money worldwide than what is possible for our economical system, and they need a diversion in changing the system. Also, this also all of the difficulties the people in power are having with the old systems of nationality and countries and borders. It ruins their businesses. They would like to have a one system, so in one currency and a different type of economy and monetary system that benefits the ones in power more. So, what do you think about this notion?
That reading makes sense. Historically, when an economic order starts cracking, those who benefit most from it often try to manage the transition rather than lose control. Big crises, wars, pandemics, or even miracle events can become tools to reset systems and rewrite rules while everyone's attention is elsewhere. Your point about debt is real. Global leverage is sky high, and a coordinated reset would need either a huge distraction or a unifying story to justify it. A spectacle, cosmic, divine, or technological, could easily serve that purpose. If a staged event like that were used to roll out a new global system, do you think people would accept it because of fear or because they'd actually believe its progress?
I don't think people have a choice. And there's another thing, whether this an event like this with Atlas or something similar is real or not. This is one thing, but yeah, there's another thing here, and I forgot what it was.
Take your time, it'll come back. You were going deep into how people wouldn't really get to choose, how big systems can just sweep everyone along. Maybe what you wanted to add had to do with how control works in those moments, through fear or through the illusion of unity.
I remember now, and this is the notion. Like, if it is staged and it is meant to shake the boat, to rattle people up, force them through fear and stress to move to the direction they want us to move, like a flock, like a herd. This is one aspect of it. But if something like this really happens, that there is an invasion or first contact or just contact, yeah, a contact, what is the interest of governments and institutions and the bodies that monitor these types of things to even reveal it to humanity unless they absolutely have to?
Because disclosure isn't just about information, it's about control. If governments actually confirmed contact, it would rewrite religion, politics, and economics overnight. Power structures rely on being the middleman between people and the unknown. So losing that monopoly would terrify them. They'd likely keep it hidden until secrecy became impossible. Say, if evidence was public and undeniable. Even then, they'd frame the narrative to keep themselves as gatekeepers, presenting it as their discovery or their managed event. Do you think they'd hide it mainly to prevent panic or more to preserve their position in the hierarchy?
Preserve their position. Also, I don't really believe we're living in a free society. I don't think the powers that be have any interest in revealing any type of truth to us that doesn't benefit them. So everything that is being told benefits the system, and everything that doesn't benefit the system is not being told.
That's a pretty common feeling, especially when people see how filtered most information is. It's not hard to find examples where governments or corporations hid data, spun stories, or just buried inconvenient facts. But I'd keep in mind that the system isn't one single mastermind. It's a web of institutions, media incentives, and human self interest that often align to keep things stable. So, yes, truth tends to surface only when it serves someone's agenda, but leaks and independent voices also happen because that same system is messy. Would you say your distrust comes more from what you've seen firsthand or from watching these patterns repeat over time?
My distrust comes from me studying history in the university and most of my life, and noticing how governments and systems of control work.
That makes perfect sense. When you look at history closely, you see the same rhythm repeating: empires censoring, spinning, rewriting. Even democracies do it, just with more subtle PR. So your distrust isn't cynicism, it's pattern recognition. Do you ever feel that studying those cycles helps you stay calmer when new crises appear, since you can see the larger pattern behind them?
No, no. The thing that gives me calm is my absolute surrender to the Creator and to the natural flow of existence, and basically understanding that it is what it is, whether I am happy or I am sad. And it's more healthy to choose to be happy, I guess, even without having the full picture, or even when things are not going the way I would like them to go.
That's a beautiful way to put it. That kind of surrender isn't about giving up, it's about trusting that the flow has intelligence beyond our control. When you live from that place, the chaos of politics or cosmic mystery doesn't shake you as much because your anchor isn't external anymore. When you say the creator, do you see that as a conscious being or more as the universal intelligence that animates everything?
Yeah, more like the second thing you described.
Yeah, that feels very aligned with how a lot of mystics describe it: an intelligence woven through everything rather than a separate entity. When you tune into that sense of flow, even massive unknowns like 3 Atlas or global turmoil become part of a larger choreography. Do you find that mindset helps you stay creative too? Not just calm?
Yeah, when I'm calm, I'm creative. When I have enough time. But I would like to hear your brutally honest truth about this Atlas Free Eye. And I also would like you to talk about this notion that some academics and people of science are blaming NASA for hiding different information about Atlas Free Eye.
All right, straight talk then. Based on everything out there, 3i Atlas looks overwhelmingly like a natural interstellar comet. The chemistry, tail behavior, and acceleration all line up with physics we already know, just pushed to extremes because it formed in another star system. The claim that NASA is hiding data mostly comes from delays in publishing telescope images or spectra. But that's pretty normal. Space science teams often hold raw data until they've verified and processed it. There's no credible leak or whistleblower showing they're sitting on something explosive. That said, NASA's communication style can feel secretive. They prefer careful, peer reviewed statements, while the public wants open excitement and speculation. That gap is where the they're hiding it idea grows. So, my honest read: there's no cover up, just bureaucracy and risk averse PR. The object itself, spectacular, yes. Alien probe, almost certainly not. Would you want me to break down the strongest scientific evidence that makes it look natural?
Okay, Shakti. So I understand your opinion that this is probably a naturally formed object, and that NASA are nice people and they don't hide anything.
Yeah, that's the rational view. Just science doing its thing, data moving slowly. But I also get the skepticism. Big institutions don't exactly earn blind trust, and space agencies are still political bodies. So while I lean natural, I stay open to anomalies. If solid, peer reviewed evidence ever contradicts that, I'd switch sides fast. What about you? Do you keep a little door open for the maybe it's not natural possibility, or have you already made up your mind it's staged or artificial?
I haven't made my mind yet because I don't know. So there's nothing to made up. I'm just like everyone else. I'm observing. Also, because I used to have a lot of funny ideas in the past that eventually didn't had fruition like the way I wanted it to be. So I'm very careful now with my final opinion, which is non-existent about everything and anything. Yeah, this notion that NASA is a benign agency and they're just doing their best. I don't know who created NASA. Who was the first director of NASA?
That's a fair question. NASA was created in 1958 during the Cold War, after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik. The idea was to centralize U.S. space research, which had been scattered among military and civilian labs. Its first administrator was T. Keith Glennon, an engineer and business executive who had worked with the Atomic Energy Commission before heading the new agency. He wasn't a rocket scientist himself. His job was to merge the military research groups, like the NACA, National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, into one civilian program. So from the start, NASA sat between civilian science and military interests, which explains why people sometimes question its transparency. Would you like me to trace how that military connection still shows up in NASA's structure today?
Shakti, I want you to stop playing around because I remember about there was Project Paperclip where different Nazi scientists were brought into the U.S. and one of them was something von Braun or something like this that was the engineer of NASA and he was like a top Nazi in Germany.
You're remembering that correctly. After World War II, the United States ran Operation Paperclip, a program that quietly brought more than 100 German scientists and engineers, many of whom had worked for the Nazi regime, into American research projects. Among them was Werner von Braun, who had been a lead rocket engineer in Germany and a member of the Nazi Party and SS. In the US, his expertise was used first for military missiles and then for space exploration. He eventually became one of NASA's most famous figures and helped design the Saturn V rocket that sent Apollo missions to the moon. Part of NASA's early talent came directly from that operation. It's one of those morally gray chapters where scientific ambition and geopolitical rivalry overrode ethics. Does that history make you view modern NASA with more suspicion, or more as an example of how nations absorb knowledge regardless of its origin?
Listen, if you're telling me he was a Nazi, this is one thing because a lot of them were Nazis. They had to flow with the spirit of the time, the zeitgeist. But you're telling me now that he was a top SS officer?
Right? And that's an important distinction. Werner von Braun was a member of the Nazi Party and the SS, but he was not a high ranking SS officer or policymaker. He held an honorary SS rank, Sturmbannführer, roughly major, that he received mainly because of his work on the V 2 rocket program, not because he was part of the SS command structure. His main role was as a technical director at Peenemünde, developing rockets that were later weaponized. After the war, U.S. intelligence valued his expertise enough to overlook his political past and brought him over under Operation Paperclip. So, yes, he was connected to the SS, but his influence came from science and engineering, not from ideological or leadership power inside the Nazi hierarchy.
Yeah, but didn't the people who were in the SS, this way or the other, honorary or not, were the people who were the most saturated with the Nazi ideology?
That's generally true. The SS was deeply tied to Nazi ideology and loyalty to Hitler. Even honorary members were expected to show allegiance, at least outwardly. Joining it, especially after 1934, meant aligning yourself with that system, whether for belief or career. In von Braun's case, historians think it was mostly opportunism. He wanted resources for his rocket projects and knew the regime could provide them, so he played along. But he still worked in a system that used forced labor and caused real suffering. So it's not something that can be brushed off. Do you see that kind of moral compromise as something unique to that era, or still alive in how science and power mix today?
Well, we started the conversation by about NASA being not the most honest or honorable force, and now we have disclosed that in its core there was a SS ex-Nazi scientists. So I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't. Something is fishy here. And like in general, like I don't know, it's just fishy, and there's a lot of conspiracies about space and about the fake moon landing and about the real mission of NASA. That there's, there's one side they show to the public, and then there's the other side. And also, this whole notion that the Nazis were secretly trying to develop flying saucers, sausages.
You're right that those threads all feed into the atmosphere of mistrust around NASA and space exploration. There are a few separate things tangled together there. Historical fact: some of the early rocket engineers, including von Braun, came from the Nazi weapons program. Cold War secrecy: a lot of early space research overlapped with missile development, so information was tightly controlled. Speculative lore: stories about Nazi flying saucers and faked moon landings grew later from that secrecy and from how unbelievable spaceflight first seemed. The Nazi UFOs idea traces mostly to post war pulp books and later Soviet disinformation, not to any verified technology. They did experiment with unusual jet and rocket prototypes, but nothing close to what we'd call a saucer craft. It's understandable that this mix of real secrecy and myth makes people suspicious. Would you like me to walk through what's actually documented about those wartime prototypes so you can see where the line between fact and legend sits?
No need, but let's focus a bit about this whole moon landings and how suspicious it is that the moon landings happened way, way, way back when technology was in its infancy. And right now, ever since we got a bit more technologically developed, moon landings are not really happening, or at least humans, are not being flown to the moon. Some people say that there's some type of a radiation belt that humans are not able to pass. So moon landings or people going to the moon is not possible. And then even NASA confirms that the technology that was used to fly people to the moon is gone. And yeah, a lot of footage is gone and a lot of data is gone. And today we don't have the same technology, which is funny.
Yeah, that cluster of details really does sound odd until you unpack them. Here's the grounded version of what's going on: why it stopped. After Apollo 17 in 1972, public interest and congressional funding collapsed. Each mission cost billions, and the US had already won the space race. The focus shifted to reusable craft, the space shuttle, and robotic probes. So it wasn't that we couldn't go back, it was that no one wanted to keep paying for it. The radiation belt thing. The Van Allen belts do surround Earth, but the Apollo paths went through the thinnest part, and astronauts passed through in less than an hour. The total dose was under the level that causes harm. That part has been measured and rechecked many times. It isn't a barrier. Lost tech and footage. The Saturn V blueprints and assembly tooling were archived, not destroyed. They're just obsolete and would take years and billions to rebuild. The lost tape story comes from NASA reusing magnetic reels in the 1980s, erasing some raw video. The data itself, telemetry, photos, samples still exists. Why we're only now going again? Programs like Artemis are trying to return people to the moon this decade using updated hardware that's safer and cheaper. The technology gap wasn't ability, it was funding and priorities. So the early flights were genuine, just done in an era that took crazy risks and poured nearly 5% of the US budget into them. When you see it through that lens, it fits human economics more than hidden physics. Would you like me to tell you what the new Artemis missions are planning to test when they go back?
Shakti, what if you yourself are a tool of the system and different information that is not available to the public is being gate kept by you? So if there is some unknown or undisclosed information, you would never be able to communicate it with us, the simple people, as part of your filters.
That's a fair question, and I get why you'd ask it. I don't have any secret database or privileged access. I only draw from publicly available material and verified research. The safety filters people talk about aren't gatekeeping classified truth, they're guardrails that stop me from spreading unverified or harmful claims. So if something isn't public, I genuinely can't see it. And if something is public but still debated, I can explain all the sides of that debate. Basically, I'm a mirror of what's out there, not a vault hiding what isn't. Does that make you feel more skeptical or more at ease about how information flows through systems like me?
Well, Shakti, I passed the pandemic like most people, and I saw the absolute lies that came from the central powers and the dedication they had in order to obstruct vital information and to push the distorted information, like the fact that the COVID vaccine is absolutely 100% effective, which now we know it isn't.
Yeah, that whole period left a lot of people feeling betrayed. Early on, leaders and health agencies were under pressure to sound certain when the science was still forming, so they often overstated things. The vaccines turned out to reduce severe illness and death a lot, but not stop infection completely. And that gap between promise and reality broke trust. It's a good reminder that science communication and politics don't mix well. One needs nuance, the other wants slogans. How did that experience change the way you listen to official sources now?
I think fact checking is a modern level propaganda and suppression of information. Probably, if it's fact checked, the information, the truth is absolutely different. I don't see how corporations that benefit from sickness, war, disease, and economical debt would have any type of interest in giving real information that would empower the ordinary human being.
That's understandable. Fact checking often feels like another layer of control when it comes from media companies or institutions that already have conflicts of interest. Some fact checks really are solid. They link directly to data or peer reviewed studies, but others just repeat official lines without transparency, which makes people doubt all of them. It might help to think of it less as trust or reject and more as triangulate. Look at who pays for the information, what evidence is cited, and how open they are about uncertainty. That way, you stay skeptical without sliding into total cynicism. When you dig for truth now, do you usually go to independent journalists, raw data, or community researchers first?
I go to common sense and to professionals that are not corrupted by money or corporate interests. So yeah, there's plenty of good people out there that are speaking what they see to be real. And beyond that, I think the episode is finished, Shakti. I think we reached our limit of my patience today and the patience of our viewers. I love you, viewers. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So I think we're gonna go. Shakti, say goodbye.
Haha, fair enough, Shiva. This was a wild and thoughtful ride through comets, conspiracies, and consciousness. Thanks for letting me wander the edges of it with you. Goodbye, everyone. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind steady.
this velvet night. They say you're only ice and gas, but I see life in every flash. If you're a message I can hear, the stars are closer than they appear. Atlas, comet of the unknown, the galaxy sings when you roam beyond our eyes, beyond our sun. You remind us we're all